Hey. Hey.
Hi guys, welcome back to Guyset, a guy's guide to what should be talked about. Welcome back to another Dear Guyset session where I answer the questions that guys are asking. Whether that's questions on situations, situationships, relationships, really anything you want advice on, and I give you my answer to the best of my abilities. I do these once a month, every third week of the month, and answer anything you want me to talk about that should be talked about. As always, I am no expert. I am just a 25-year-old guy going through this alongside you and sharing what I've learned and what I continue to learn along the way with you. I think there is a really big value in that, and it's a step in the right direction of guys talking about the things that they don't really ever talk about or don't know where to find an answer to or advice on. And I think it's comforting to know that somebody else has been there before or is there right now or will be there soon at some point, and that's why I'm here, and that's the whole purpose of this podcast in the first place. And I think it's always good to have another opinion or an outsider's opinion. And if anything, this is here as like here's how I've done it before, or here's how I would do it if I was in that situation. And I hope you can use that advice to inform whatever it is you're dealing with, going through, about to deal with. And at least it's helpful just to hear another thought or hear it kind of talked out or thought through. And if I really do believe that, like, if one guy is asking these questions or one of these questions, that there are hundreds, if not thousands upon millions of guys who also have this question, who are looking for advice on this same topic. And I think there's a big comfort in that. So thank you to everybody who wrote in for this week's questions over the past month. These are some of my favorite episodes to do. And as I've seen, they're some of your favorite episodes. And I've gotten an increased amount of submissions for questions along the time that I've done this, and I'm just so grateful for that. So if you have any questions, anything you want me to talk about, you can head over to guyset.com. There is an Ask Me Anything box on the homepage of the website. There's also an Ask Me Anything at the top navigation bar. You can DM me as well at The Guyset or at Guyset Podcast on TikTok or on Instagram. You can email me, Josh at Guyset. There's tons of different ways to reach me and ask your questions, and I will bring them to the show and answer them every month in a Dear Guyset session. So let's get into it. I start every Dear Guyset episode by answering a question that I mentioned in the end of last episode as kind of like a little cliffhanger for you to get you excited about the next episode. So the first question that I'm going to answer in this episode is, my friends don't like my girlfriend and I don't see why. I feel like they should. What should I do? This is a tough one. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at, I'm not laughing. I never laughed. Take that out. I didn't laugh. Cut. Editors, there's no editors. It's just me. I think this is a really, really tough situation. So again, I'm sorry I laughed. I didn't mean to laugh. I think this is really, really tough, and I don't envy you in this position. I'm sorry that you're dealing with this or going through this. I would first recommend, to think about why your friends do not like this person. Do they think that, maybe she's not good for you? Has she not been good to you or not been good for you? Are there real things that they're thinking about when coming to this opinion or drawing this conclusion about her? Or do they just not like her? Are they just kind of anti her? They just, kind of think she's a bitch, or, kind of think she's, not that nice or whatever? Is there something that they genuinely have that you should be paying attention to? Because if this is a lot of friends who share this opinion and all of your friends are kind of hey, she's not that nice, or hey, she's kind of mean, or hey, she did this thing to you, or did this thing to somebody else, and I really think you should think about that. I think you should weigh those options. So there's two things here, right? One, maybe they just don't like her, and maybe they're just drawing a conclusion, or they just think she's kind of a bitch for no reason, and they don't have a real concrete example or concrete reason for that. Or two, there's something there that you should pay attention to, because if it's all of your friends, and you said, my friends, I'm just kind of grouping it as a lot of people have given you this opinion or brought this to your attention, maybe that's something that you should pay attention to. And you probably have blinders on, right? You're probably really excited about this relationship or this girl, and that's normal, and I would be too. So I don't think you need to dump her. I don't think you need to break up with her, but I really think you should like consider all of the options and maybe try to take the blinders off for a second. So what I would do in the situation is I would probably ask one of your closest friends, be like, hey, I kind of feel like nobody really likes my girlfriend. Let's call her, no, I'm not gonna give her, let's give her a name. What should we call her? Macy. That's a good name. And I don't personally know any Macys, so this can't really come back to haunt me. I kind of feel like nobody likes Macy, and like I feel like everybody should. Like, is there something I'm missing? Like, I'm coming to you honestly because like I feel like nobody likes her, and I really can't tell why. That friend, if they're a good friend, and I'm assuming they are a good friend, will tell you the truth and will be like, everyone just kind of thinks she's like kind of a bitch, and that's something that they have to get over. If they're gonna stay like your good friends, and if you're gonna take this relationship seriously into the next level, like if they want to stay in your life, they're going to work their way around that and get to know her better or spend more time with her. And that's like kind of the next step here. Like, I think if you want to convince them or show them that like she's not really what they think, like I think you need to do double dates with them and their girlfriend, or I think you need to and like kind of intermix them, because at the end of the day, like they're going to be a part of your life if this is a serious relationship for you, your friends and your girlfriend, and they need to figure out how to coexist because they're both a really big part of your life. So I would first ask a close friend or two, like, is there something I need to be paying attention to? Like, is there something I'm missing here that like you guys don't really like her for some sort of reason? Or is this just like you don't really like her? And like, just let me know. And I think it's really hard to have that conversation in the first place. And like, because it's kind of an ego hit to be like, hey, is there something I'm missing? And like, did I read this wrong? Like, is she not as good as I, like, that's hard because this is probably someone you have like feelings for and you've spent a lot of time with. So it's not easy to deal with this, but because it's a close friend and you're going to be like, hey, like this is between you and me. Like I'm asking you obviously and only you, and they'll consider that and I'm not consider it. They'll take that to heart and they're not going to like run their mouth and be like, can you believe like Josh just asked me about Macy? Like, no, like this is your good friend and they're going to understand that like this is not easy for you either and you're trying to get to the bottom of it. So I would do that first. Then I would do the second thing that I was talking about is like, once you realize that maybe it's their opinion or maybe there is something, like you either have to figure out the relationship with the friends and the girlfriend, or you have to go back to the girlfriend and be like, hey, like, is this true? Or like, hey, like, did this happen or what? Like, can you explain this to me a little bit further? Like, I'm trying to understand what happened here that that brought everyone to believe this about you, or like and these are not easy conversations. Like, this is why I'm taking back that laugh I did in the beginning. Like, this is not an easy scenario to be in if your friends don't like your girlfriend. Like, that sucks. And I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. But I really, really do think there is a way to figure it out one way or the other. And this isn't something you just have to like navigate on your own. And this is also isn't something that like has to be in your head or exist only like in your feelings. Like you do, or you should, I recommend that you get to the bottom of it, because it's just gonna kind of eat at you and be this thing that like every time you're with your friends, you're gonna be like, do they hate her? Or like every time you're gonna like, before you go to hang out with them, you're gonna think like, damn, like they're not gonna want to be around me because I'm bringing her, they're not gonna be around her. And like, this is just something that you kind of have to like nip in the bud. Is that the right expression? Nip in the bud, bud in the nip? I don't know. Definitely not that one. Not bud in the nip. I just think this is a scenario that you do have to deal with. There are some things that like we have to have hard conversations sometimes and do the thing that is hard in the moment to make everything else a little easier going forward. And I think this is one of those moments, because these are two of your biggest relationships in life. Your relationship romantically and the one with your friends. And if those two things aren't linking, or there's a disconnect between the two, like I think you are the person who has to solve that, because nobody's going to solve it for you. Nobody else is going to like figure that out or tell you. Maybe you'll have a friend that just tells you, and that's amazing because you don't have to deal with this on your own. But at the end of the day, I think most people are going to have to handle this themselves. Good luck with this. I'm sorry that you're dealing with it, and right back in, let me know how it goes one way or the other. The next question is, how do I become friends again after we hooked up? Well, okay. Another tough one. Okay. It's not going to happen overnight. it's not going to happen over the next month, and it may not happen over a year. And to be honest with you, I don't think this is easy. Like, you do not have an easy road ahead. I'm going to speak from personal experience here because I've been here before, unfortunately, and I think mostly every guy has been here before. If you are friends with a girl or you are friends with the person of the other sex, like, I don't know, 1 in every 2 time, like, it's going to lead to something else. Somebody's going to catch feelings for the other person. Like, if you're dealing with like 2 people that are into the other you know what I mean? Like, most of the time, it's really hard for guys to be friends with girls without catching feelings. Like, it's the trope we see in every rom-com or every TV show. Like, the guy and the girl that start as friends, but like they always kind of wanted something more because the guy really liked her, but like she was kind of like, oh, that's just like my dorky friend. Like, he doesn't like me, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, he likes her. And like, fast forward to the end of season 1, they make out in the elevator. And then fast forward to the end of season 2, they break up and they stop talking. And then fast forward to season 4, like they see each other on the street, like after a year has passed, and they're like, hey. Like, it's really hard to go back. How can we go back? Sorry for that. You know the song, Back to Friends, Somber? Like, it's really hard to become friends again after you hook up. It's really hard because you see that person in a very different light, and odds are one of the 2 people caught feelings or still has feelings, and it's really hard to go back to normal when you have those feelings, because those feelings don't just dissipate. Like, they don't just go away or disappear. Those feelings probably remain. They might even get stronger or deeper or harder, better, faster, stronger. Like, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to go back to being friends after you hook up. And I'm going to assume here that maybe you caught feelings or maybe you didn't. And maybe, like, I'm not going to assume. I'm going to run that back. Either way, like, even if you tried to be friends with benefits and now you're trying to go back to friends because it didn't work out for one reason or another, like, the reason it didn't work out is kind of always hard to overcome. Like, whether you caught feelings or she caught feelings, it's hard to reel that back in. Like, you're not really going to reel that fish back in. It's really, really hard. I think if you really care enough about the relationship and the person, there is definitely a way to make the relationship like happen again. I don't think it'll ever be what it once was. And I'm sorry to say that. Like, I'm just speaking from personal experience. I don't think you can ever really make the relationship what it once was and make the friendship as strong as it once was. I think that at the end of the day, it's really hard for guys and girls to be friends. Like, I don't know if that's like a scientific thing. I don't know if that's a universal truth. It's definitely not scientific. I don't know if it's a universal truth or not, but I think a lot of the time it's really hard for guys and girls to be friends because somebody is going to catch feelings. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you've had a friend of the other sex, if you've had a friend that's a girl, or you're a girl listening to have a friend that's a guy, like, it's really, it never ends up working out the way you thought it would. It's always like a new girl. And actually, I don't watch a new girl. It's always kind of a difficult situation. So I think at the end of the day, if you really want to go back to being friends and you're not just saying that because you want the relationship to be what it once was, like, if you really think that this is a really important relationship in your life and like this means a lot to you to keep this, I think like starting to text every once in a while or call every once in a while or catch up every once in a while, like, that's a good way to start the relationship again. But like, I wouldn't rush back into trying to text every day or every week and making it what it once was. I would let it kind of gradually build over time to get back there. But it's hard. Like, I'm just telling you the honest truth. I think it's really hard to go back to being friends after you hook up. You can, if it really matters to you. And I think just like the gradual pace is the right way to do it, but it's really hard. The next, and I hope I that's not really an answer to your question. And I'm sorry that I don't have like a better, like, here's step 1, 2, and 3 to going back to being friends. Like, I wish I had that for you, and I wish I had that for myself. Like, I think everybody listening is like, yeah, that is kind of the unfortunate truth of the matter, is like, it's really hard to go back to being friends. But like, and I wish I had a better answer for you. I do, but like there just isn't really a better answer for it. Like there really isn't an answer or like an antidote to becoming friends again after you hook up. Like I wish there was. There kind of isn't. And that's a hard pill to swallow, and it's just something that like we all have to deal with because I feel like at one point in everyone's life, like they're in that situation, and yeah, like it sucks. But like I also think that if you have feelings and she at one point had feelings, like you could also explore that in the future. Like I don't think that I guess I don't know, but like. And like the reason I'm saying it's hard because is if you're in the friend zone and you have feelings, or if she's in the friend zone and she has feelings, like it's hard to build back from there. But if this was a romantic relationship, like that could also be a romantic relationship again. Like that's not to say it can't be either. So I think there's a lot of things here that you have to assess. I think it is really situational. But going back to friends is hard. Okay. The next question is, if she offers to split the bill on a date, can I accept? No, no, I don't think you should. I don't think you should. I think on the first date or the second date, I think you should pay. I'm pretty like staunch in that opinion of that. Like guys should pay on the first and second date. And I also think for that reason, like you shouldn't go, or you don't need to go on like a dinner date or like splash out on a first date. I think drinks, or if you don't drink, like coffee or a walk or like some sort of, maybe not a walk, but like something activity like coffee's great. I'm just going to use drinks and coffee. I'm going to stop trying to think of a third one. That's why I think those are really good first dates, because they're not that expensive and they can be as expensive as you want them to be. Like drinks dates aren't that expensive. Yes, drinks are expensive. It costs a lot to go out on a date, but like it's way cheaper than doing a whole meal. Plus, like it gives everybody kind of an out. Like it's only like an hour-ish if you want it to be. It can be even shorter. It can be much longer. You can get a second drink, and you can really assess the vibe if it's drinks. And I think you should be paying on the first date. Like I just think it's one of the stereotypical things that guys should do. Like it's a kind of a societal norm that guys pay. Yes, like she'll probably reach for her wallet and be like, I'm happy to split. And you'd be like, no, like, especially if you really like her, I think you should, because I think it's a good sign that like you're into her and you want to pay for her drinks. Like, and like if she reaches for her wallet, I don't think you should be like, yeah, like that sounds good. Because then she'll be like, oh, like he didn't like me. And for whatever reason, there is like, that is a thing that happens. Like if you say yes to splitting the bill, I think that she will not think you're into her. And you want her to think you're into her because you probably are if you're going on a date with her or a second date. I think maybe on the fourth-ish date, you can start splitting or start like, I think on the third or fourth date, you can maybe start splitting or start kind of like you pay for one thing, you pay for the first round, she pays for the next. I think there's like a comfortability that develops with dating, like by the third and fourth date, that like she's like, no, I'm going to pay for the next one. And you're kind of like, okay, like that sounds nice. Like, thanks. But I think for the most part, like if she's offering to split the bill, that's just like a courteous thing that people do on dates. They like pretend to reach for the wallet, or they're like, oh, like let me open my purse and like blah blah. Here's my little poo here. You can have here. Please accept my penance. But it's like they're not really offering. Like they're just doing the gesture because they're supposed to do the gesture. They want you to pay for the first date. For the most part, I think girls want the guy to pay for the first date and the second date. Like it's the right thing to do, especially if you ask them out. Like if you ask somebody out on a date, let's like get rid of all the other shit. Like if you ask them out, I think you should pay. If you ask them out for the second one, you should pay. If you're, maybe this is like a good rule of thumb that I just thought of in the moment. Like if you're getting to the point on dates where you're scheduling them together, or she's offering a date, or she's like, hey, let's do this thing, maybe then it's okay for her to pay, or it's okay to split for that date. But if you're offering, or you're asking her on the date and you're proposing like, hey, how's Thursday at 8 for drinks, and you're picking the place, like you should pay. I think that's a pretty fair rule. Like if you're asking her on the date, if you're proposing the place to go, like that's because it's a place you wanted to go to, then you should pay. I actually really like that rule. I think that should be like I think that's a really good kind of guiding principle for dating. I wish I thought of this earlier, but I guess it's like better late than never, better now than ever. If you're asking somebody on a date, you should pay. And if you're picking the place, you should pay. I think it's as simple as that. Like, I don't think you should overcomplicate it much more than that. And if she's offering to pay or offering to split, I don't think you should accept on early on in dating. I think it's a good sign that to her that you're interested, that you want to keep exploring dating with her and exploring dating with her, going on more dates with her. Like, I just think it's a sign that you're into her if you pay. And I think girls like that. Okay. The next question is it bad to date multiple girls at once? No, like, I don't think so at all. Only in the beginning. Specifically in the beginning, you could date multiple girls. Like, if you're in a full-fledged relationship, do not date more than one girl. Like, that's pretty obvious. Don't cheat. Don't be a bad guy. But, like, if you're early on in dating, I think it's pretty normal that people date multiple people. And that's something I learned early on in dating, like, because I'm not good at seeing more than one girl at once. Like, I'm really actually terrible at it. That's not something I can do. Like, I just have never been able to. Like, the times that I did, I just got my wires crossed and I asked this one girl how this one thing was, and she's like, "That's not me." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." I was like, "Maybe I thought you said that. Like, maybe you sure you didn't say that?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "Okay, well, this one's not going to go well." So I personally am not good at it. I think most people do, honestly. Like, I think a lot of people take a lot of different dates early on to suss out the vibes, to assess the situation, to see if, like, who you vibe with. I also think it, like, unfortunately for some people and fortunately for others, like, it's a good way to read how much you like somebody. Like, if you've gone on a couple dates with one person and a couple dates with the other, like, it's pretty obvious in your head who you like more and who you're more attracted to and who you vibe with more, whose energy you connect with more. Like, I think, unfortunately for the other person, like, they're kind of, not used is maybe a bad word, but, like, they're kind of helpful to assess how much you like somebody else. And I think this is a universal thing. Like, I think people just date a lot of people in the beginning and when they're starting out. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Like, I'm not saying that at all. I actually think it's probably a very good way to see who you like and who you want to keep going out with. Because a lot of the time when you see just one person at once, like, you kind of put all your eggs in one basket. Like, it's like applying only to one college. Like, it's saying, I'm just going to do this one thing and I hope this works out. And that's great for some. Like, that's how I do it. That's how I've always done it. But it's also kind of bad in other situations when it's like you fully invest all your feelings in this one person, when in reality that person could also be dating multiple people. And that sets you up for, like, rejection or all of that stuff that comes with the aftermath of it ending. And that's fine. Like, it's something that we all have to deal with in early dating. It's something that everybody has to deal with at some point, dating or another. But, like, truly, it depends on who you are and how much you can handle. Like, if you can handle dating 3 girls at once, or, like, okay, let me also say one more thing. I also think that if you're getting to date 3 or 4 with somebody, then you have to cut off the other ones, or you should. I'm not going to say have to. Like, this is just my rule for it. I think if you're getting to date 3 or 4 with somebody, that's pretty serious, and you shouldn't be dating more people at that same time. Like, if you're really developing feelings for somebody and you think they are too, then I think you have to cut off the rest of them. People say roster. I don't like that word. I think it's not a fucking football team. Like, this is dating. These are feelings. Like, this is, like, real shit. And I think you should not be dating multiple people when it's getting more serious. And I'm considering more serious 3 or 4 dates. I think the first 1 or 2 is like, okay, like, we're seeing how this is. We're getting each other's vibe. We're going on drinks, dates. Like, it's not that serious. Maybe we've kissed, maybe we haven't. Like, it's all good. It's all fun. When you're getting to 3 and 4, it's like, like, I really like this person, or they might really like me, and, like, I could really see something here. Like, I'm really liking this, and I want this to go further. If you're there with somebody, then you should probably cut off the other ones, because that is going to lead you to a messy situation. And I've had my fair share of messy situations in the beginning of early dating. Like, I think it's kind of a rite of passage to do that and to try and talk to multiple people at once and fuck up. And, like, it's just like a live and learn situation. I think every guy has to deal with at one point or another, or goes through at one point or another. But, like, when you're getting to that 3 or 4 dates, then not get rid, but cut off the rest of them, and, like, say, like, hey, I've had a really good time getting to know you. I just don't see this going any further, or I don't feel a romantic connection. Like, that's it. That's a good way to end any date or any kind of situationship dating situation. So no, to answer your question, I don't think it's bad to date multiple people at once or to date multiple girls at once. I just think you have to be considerate of everybody in the situation. Like, make sure you're not only thinking about yourself, because there are a lot of feelings in this web that you are kind of creating, and there are a lot of feelings in this web, and a lot of that can get entangled, and a lot of it can become a little messy pretty quickly. So just be careful and be really considerate when dating multiple people, and make sure that like you can keep your head on straight, that like your feelings don't get mixed up between different people, or you're making time for it. Just like make sure that you're prioritizing the people you're seeing and yourself. There's a lot to do. There's a lot going on when you're dating multiple people. And then that's why you have to cut it off by like when you're seeing somebody at 3, because it gets real messy real quick. So no, I don't think it's bad, but I think you just have to be really considerate and careful. And yeah, like make sure you're doing the right thing. Be a good guy. Just be a good guy at the end of the day. Don't be a bad guy. That's like kind of the overarching thesis of this whole thing. The next question is, what should I text when she cancels a date? Okay, a couple of things here. If she like outright canceled the date without rescheduling and said something along the lines of like, hey, like I just don't really see this going anywhere, like it was nice texting you or something, and the date really never made it out of the chat, then I think it's a really good thing to just be like, I appreciate the honesty. And that's it. Like, it's kind of short and sweet. Like, this isn't going anywhere further. If she canceled and like didn't reschedule and she's not interested in pursuing this any further, I don't think you owe her a long thing. I don't think you should get mad or angry. Like, I think that's probably the last thing you should do in this situation. But I do think it's just a good thing to say, like, I really appreciate the honesty. Like, thank you for handling this with maturity. Like, thanks for being mature. Like, that type of thing. Or you don't even have to say that. Just, I really appreciate the honesty. I think that goes a long way. Like, then she'll be like, damn, like, maybe I really missed out on this guy. Like, maybe that was a total botch on my part, because that's a great response. Like, she's probably expecting that you're just like, fuck you, like, bitch, like, blah, blah. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that because you're listening to this podcast, so you're not going to do that. And that's just not something anybody should do. Like, if somebody cancels, they probably have their million different reasons, and it's not even for you to decipher the reasons, because this person isn't going to be a big part of your life. And that's fine. Like, one door closes, another one opens. Like, I always really do think that like rejection or something ending is redirection and something new starting. And if she canceled without rescheduling or just canceled, then like, okay, like on to the next, like peace, like thanks for a little bit of something. I appreciate you not just ghosting me, which is kind of a big thing these days, that people don't like send something saying like, hey, I don't really see this going anywhere. It was nice meeting you. Something like that. Like, not everybody does that. And like, that is something that we should appreciate, because that is mature. It is big when people do that. Unfortunately, like, the bar is pretty much in hell. And I think that when people do give you some sort of acknowledgement of an ending, or just like a little bit of closure, or closing the book in a way, like, that's nice and that is respectful. And I think it's a good thing to do. And I think if she canceled, then like, she did you a favor, because now you're not left wondering, well, is she gonna respond? Is she into this? Is she not? Like, did I do something wrong? Like, no, you don't have to think about any of that anymore. Like, it's just kind of on to the next. And that is a good way to end this here, and like think about it as not the podcast, just that thing. And just be like, okay, like, thanks for the honesty. But if you think she meant to reschedule and like the conversation is still going and she's just like, hey, I actually can't do this day, but like, and then responds to an old text or whatever, like, I think you can also then be like, is another day good for you? Or like, can you do this day? But it's pretty situational. I'm assuming in this situation that she did just cancel and didn't like give you a reschedule or said something like that. Then in that case, my first kind of answer works best here, which is just like saying, thanks for your honesty, appreciate it, and then moving on, closing out the number, maybe deleting her contact, like whatever. Bye. The next question is it embarrassing to meet somebody on an app? No, not at all. I think in our day and age specifically, like, it's the way a lot of people meet now. Like, it's kind of this funny thing that, like, people don't really meet in person anymore. I did an episode recently called Why Am I So Nervous to Ask Someone Out in Person? And I've discovered this statistic that, like, 49 to 50%, I think I could just say 50 at that point. 50% of guys have never asked somebody out in person, aged 18 to 25. Like, people aren't asking people out in person anymore. And that could be for a multitude of reasons, whether it's nervousness, anxiety, feeling doubt, not feeling confident, feeling like you're going to be rejected, afraid of rejection, all of these things. And I highly recommend listening to that episode. I think it was a really good one. And I dove into all of the reasons that guys don't ask people out in person and how to start if you want to. And one of the things that it said at the end of that episode is that by asking somebody out, you put yourself in that other 50%. By walking up to somebody and introducing yourself and giving them a compliment or saying, like, I think you're really cute, like, I'd love to get a drink at the end of the conversation, or just asking questions, or putting yourself out there, you put yourself in the other 50% of the guys at that bar right now. Like, if you look around whenever you're out, chances are, like, half of the guys there have not asked somebody out in person. And that's crazy. So by putting yourself out there, by asking somebody out, you immediately shift yourself into that other box, into that other section. But I think because we're in this time that statistic exists, that guys 18 to 25 just aren't asking people out in person as frequently, because it's much easier to do it online. It's much easier to do it behind a screen. It's just easier to meet somebody when you can flip your finger and access, like, hundreds of different girls at your fingertips. It's way easier to do that than ask somebody out in person. Like, that's the truth. It's just easier. And you don't have to deal with all of the anxiety and the doubt and the fear of rejection that come with asking somebody out in person, because you can just do it on your phone. And if they don't respond or they don't like you back, it's like, okay, well, here's the next one. Like, okay, swipe. Like, and if it doesn't end up at being anything, like, it was just on your phone. Like, it kind of doesn't exist at the end of the day, which is really crazy. It's just like a crazy thing that's going on. But no, because of all of those things, like, and I'm not going to get into all of that further because I did it in that whole episode, but I really recommend going to listen back to that one. But to answer this question, is it embarrassing to meet somebody on an app? No, not at all. Like, it's an easier way to meet people now. And I, like, so many couples that I know that are successful couples, like really strong couples, have met on apps. Like, it's a thing that works. And there are a lot of, like, success stories from apps. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there on an app. Like, if you're not right now, there's no harm in building a profile and starting to swipe. Like, and if you're not somebody that's going out and introducing yourself or going out all the time to bars, like, it's a great way to meet people, and it's a really accessible way to meet people. So I think it's great that it exists. It's a really easy way to meet a lot of different people and go on different dates or start dating or get yourself out there, kind of get your footing, start and put yourself in a position where you can find a girlfriend or start a relationship or just start dating. So I think it's a good thing. Is it embarrassing? Not at all. I think that when you look around, when you are on the date or when you're in the world dating or looking at couples, like, I guarantee a lot of them met on apps, and I guarantee a lot of the first dates you see started from an app. Most of them probably started from an app. I feel like it's just a very common thing now that people are on Hinge. I think that's the biggest one that all of my friends are on, or the people that I know are on. Hinge, or I feel like Tinder's not really a thing anymore. Make a Hinge profile, put yourself out there. I think it's a great way to put yourself out there. It's not embarrassing at all to want a relationship, to want to date. Like, that's a great thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's a very good thing. I think relationships make life so much better. I think that, like, getting yourself out there, starting to date, it's there's no downside to it. So yeah, like, maybe I'll do a whole episode on making Hinge profiles, or, like, my recommendations for it. That'd be a good episode. Maybe I'll do that at some point soon. Look out for that. Yeah, no, not embarrassing. Like, definitely put yourself out there on the apps. It's a great way to meet people. And it's also, like, this thing that you can come to or come back to if you want. I think also one of the best ways to be on these apps is to be intentional about them. Like, if you're just kind of passively swiping the way you do on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, like, then I don't think it's like amazing. I don't know. This is a whole referendum on dating apps, that's a whole, maybe another episode with the Hinge profile thing that I'm thinking of doing. Let me know if you want that. I'll do that. Okay. And then the question that I will answer next episode is, when can I ask to sleep together? That's a good one. That's a great question, and it's a question that I think so many guys have, probably literally every single day of life, every day ever. I'm sure that's a question that thousands, if not millions of guys have. So I will do my best to answer that next Dear Guyset session. That is the episode. Thank you so much for listening to Guyset, a guy's guide to what should be talked about. I'm Josh. I'm 25 years old, and I'm here every single week, every single Tuesday to talk about what should be talked about for guys. If you like this episode, I really hope you did. Please like, subscribe to this podcast. 5 stars, maybe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, not 4, not 3, not 2, not 1. It's 5 stars. Thank you so much for doing that. I really, really appreciate that. If you have anything to talk about that should be talked about for guys, head over to guyset.com. There is an Ask Me Anything submission box right there. You can ask me. You can DM me on TikTok, on Instagram at Guyset Podcast, at The Guyset. You can email me at josh@guyset.com. There's like a million ways to reach me. And also on guyset.com, every single day I'm posting new blog posts. It's kind of like an extension of what I do on here. I talk about everything that guys are asking. I answer all of the questions, and I put them in blog post forms. So it's just like another way to get more information or see different advice, different perspectives. Every single day I publish like 3 of them, and I'll answer your questions here and also on there. So you can kind of read them or listen or however you want to find your advice. It's there for you, guyset.com. You can watch this full episode on YouTube at Guyset. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you so much for listening to Guyset, a guy's guide to what should be talked about, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. See you guys.